what are you doing?
I'm watching some old Underbellies, getting ready for our Newt Wallen interview.
Why were the lights out?
Have you seen these things? I'm trying to set the mood. Newt Wallen in an Aquaman outfit. Man, that stuff's scary.
Well, can we kind of get started? Newt's a busy man. I don't want to leave him waiting.
Yeah, man, do your thing, yeah.
Can you kind of scoop there, buddy?
No.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
Hey, Newt, how you doing, buddy?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing great. Very excited to have you on this this specific 5 essential questions, where we're going to kind of keep it movie related. Because,
I love movies.
Yeah, I've been told that you like movies. You got kind of a background in film, like you've done some pretty cool things. So that's kind of where we're gearing these questions today. And I'm going to go ahead and start them with the first question, which is, what is the scariest film you've ever seen in the theaters?
The scariest movie that I've ever seen in the theaters. Now, I mean, I've gone to a lot of shows where they brought old movies back, but I would, and this is such a weird answer, but the last time that I remember, like, jumping watching a movie was The Ring.
The Ring?
Like, The Ring for being a PG-13 movie, and I've seen Ringu, the Japanese film. But honestly, like, I remember I watched it by myself. I built the film print because I used to run a movie theater.
Yeah.
And I watched it by myself, and I genuinely got, like, wow, that was a scary movie. And I actually jumped once or twice, like, alone in the thing, so I didn't feel like a loser. But I guess that's kind of the last one that I can remember in theaters. The Conjuring that just came out was actually pretty good as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you mentioned you'd seen the source material for The Ring. Was that one that? Did you find it translated well? Did you like the I guess American version better, or?
Yeah, because they did. There was that wave of J horror that all came out where they did like that movie with Jennifer Connelly and the one with Buffy.
Oh, yeah.
And then the one with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Ghosts in Japan just seem like they need to get over it because everybody's got like a grudge.
I like what you
It was
did
all
there.
just like it was all hurt feelings, whereas like other ghosts were just like we're disembodied spirits and we're here to suck your daughter into another dimension so you can only talk to her over the TV or something like that.
I just like that he brought up both your and my big crushes.
Yeah.
Mine being Jennifer Connelly, and yours being Buffy.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good. That was good there.
It was cool.
You've done your research.
Speaking of The Ring, I just saw a YouTube video where this guy actually brought this like a contortionist in, and he put a TV over her, and she was hanging out the TV, and his wife was sleeping, and woke up, and seriously, the screams that came out of this woman, you would have thought she was being murdered. And then he was like, "Honey, it's okay. It was just," and she just starts sobbing. It's one of the funniest YouTube videos I've ever seen in my life. I was like, if I did that to my wife, I'd be single right now.
Second most fun.
Did you ever see the horrible second Ring that is all about deer for no reason?
No, I didn't know there was.
And it's like, is there venison in Japan? So I don't understand where that was coming from. I don't know.
That's interesting now.
Yeah. I'm gonna be straight up to everybody in YouTube land and to Newt. I am not the biggest horror fan. I leave that to Matt. I cry like a baby in horror movies. I really do. I'm 6'6". I'm a big dude. I'm 6'6". I weigh like 260. So I'm a huge dude. But when it comes to like horror films, like I lose it. I absolutely lose it. I can't take it. Although I think the last one I watched, which I guess really wasn't a horror movie, was that Joss Whedon one. What was that one with the house that?
Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods,
Did you like that one? I thought that was neat. That wasn't what I
lot of
expected
people.
it to be.
A lot of people hated it because they went in thinking it was going to be like an Evil Dead type movie, and then it was a deconstruction of the genre, which I thought was really, really cool. Kind of like I tell people Last Action Hero is the action movie equivalent of that, because it takes all of the tropes. Yeah, it takes all the tropes and it deconstructs the genre while constructing something awesome out of it. Everybody hates Last Action Hero. I love that movie.
I actually love Last Action Hero, by the way. That was like one of the last movies like me and my dad saw that like together in the theaters that we just absolutely love. We actually saw it at a drive-in theater, so it made it even better.
I've never seen it.
I just went back and watched it again a couple nights ago. That and Demolition Man's another movie I say it is another, like, it's just there's so much joy in the parody without being a wink and a nod, like Scary Movie type of thing, or like Loaded Weapon 1 or some of those other movies they made.
Let let me just say, if everything from Demolition came to pass, I would have a really hard time. Demolition Man, do you remember Demolition Man?
Yes.
Remember how everything was Taco Bell's? And these guys, the rest of our crew, the rest of the Famicom Flashback crew, they go to like Taco Bell like at least like once a week, maybe more. And I can't stand Taco Bell, so I would do poorly in that world.
Dude, Doritos Locos Tacos is like amazing.
Yeah. Well, it was in Europe though. It was Pizza Hut. It wasn't.
Oh.
It was Taco Bell in North America.
See, I'd have to move to Europe then.
Yeah, and if you've ever go to the Silvermania page, you can see the history of Taco Bell narrated by our Andrew WK.
That's right. Fantastic. Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
Surprisingly entertaining.
Yeah,
like, absolutely straight from beginning to ending.
Yeah.
It's a straight up. Did you know Taco Bell? I love that video. That's an awesome video.
So we'll move on to the second question here. Now, for me, when I go see a movie or like a horror movie specifically, like the score, I think plays a huge part in like the emotional feel. Is there a particular score or soundtrack that you're personally attached to?
I am a huge fan of Italian horror movies, and I always look to Goblin as the band that kind of sets the mood for those type of movies. They did the score for Suspiria and Deep Red, Profondo Rosso, Tenebrae, all the Dario Argento films. They have this kind of cool, kind of like Pink Floyd-ish kind of feel to them, but they have very uneasy vibe, and it's just really cool. But all of the Italian films going, Seven Notes in Black was used in Kill Bill. People probably know it. The score to all of Fulci's films. I like the kind of late 70s, early 80s kind of synth vibe of certain things. It puts you in a place. And it just, I don't know, I'm a big fan of it. One of the trailers that we're working on now for my movie, we have this guy Jake Freeman working on a kind of John Carpenter-like score to put it in that kind of early 80s slasher vibe. Nice. But then that's another one. John Carpenter's score for all of his movies are just works of art. I mean, Halloween is people's ringtones. Yeah. Or, the score to The Exorcist is timeless. Another one that's awesome is the score to Poltergeist, which is actually my favorite horror movie of all time. That's just such a creepy score, So music, music is the thing that kind of creates the sense of dread and the sound effects. It's not always the gore on screen or anything like that. Your mind is far more powerful when it comes to creating tension and horror than showing any creature on screen could ever be.
I agree, and it's interesting that you brought up Halloween because I think that how simple the Halloween theme is, it just sends chills down your spine. I mean, there's not this huge orchestra playing; it's just this soft, creepy piano tone. And it's like, oh my god!
How about the most well-known of them all, Jaws? That's the most simple bum. How simple is that? Yeah, and as soon as you hear it, boom, you think of, that shark.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree. Going into our third question, you are somebody who really are a big appreciator of B movies. I was wondering if you could kind of, for all of us who aren't completely familiar with that, what exactly is a B movie, and what are some of your favorite examples of this type of film?
Well, a B movie isn't an A movie.
Gotcha. Very good.
A movies would be mainstream multiplex, small town family theater type of stuff, and B movies was the stuff that kind of played at the drive-in or played at the sleazy 42nd Street type theaters. There's also the Z grade movies, like Ed Wood type of stuff. Quentin Tarantino is known for doing stuff like that because he loves subgenres. I'm a big fan of subgenres. Right. So, Dawn of the Dead comes out, and Dawn of the Dead I would consider is an independent movie, but it had A movie special effects. And then the Italians come out with a subgenre of that, which is Lucio Fulci's Zombie 2, Zombie Flesh Eaters. And then Bruno Mattei comes out with Hell of the Living Dead, or Virus under that, which is like, this is B grade, this is Z grade. It's like everybody just kind of knocked each other off, and the product gets worse. But my favorite thing about B, Z, whatever grade films is there's something really, really charming in a really bad performance or in just the joyous misguidedness of making a movie by people who genuinely shouldn't be making movies. And I'm very big into the let's put on a show, even if it's done for marketability, because if you could put a topless girl with swastikas on her boobs on a poster, that would be something that somebody would stop and go, I want to see that.
Has that been done?
It has been. Well, it's been done twice. I ripped it off of The Dark Knight Returns, but we just shot a trailer called World War Foo for Midnight Show, and it didn't really have a hook. So I said swastika boobs, and the girl who did it is Jewish. So it's like that scene in Clerks 2. We're taking it back.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Bringing it back. That's right.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
But I grew up more on B films and Z grade films. Ed Wood is my favorite film idol because he and I have a lot of similarities. We don't really have any talent whatsoever, but we're really good at talking people into following us on our crazy adventures. And
that's cool. Yeah.
And I built what laughingly I call a career off of having a silver tongue.
Yeah, and he was one of those guys who, if the movie is any indication of what type of personality he was, he seemed like they portrayed him as a very positive individual, despite the fact that he didn't, as you said, didn't have a tremendous amount of talent. He was just somebody people were drawn to him because of his positivity.
Positivity and enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm, yeah.
You have to be your biggest fan no matter what. And, while making Midnight Show, I knew that we don't have a budget. We don't, people, obviously I have a track record of people not, liking me because I am very opinionated. So I had to be very, very optimistic, and I had to basically triumph everyone who got involved and push them as much as I could and say, just, we're going to make something great here. You just need to trust me and go along with it. And I would get excited, and then other people would get excited, and then they would get excited about the other people who are involved.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about, Ed Wood was, I'm not a cross-dresser, and I don't drink. He was known for those things. I should start cross-dressing now. If I did a whole Frankfurter and Rocky Horror thing, that'd be kind of hot,
I would pay to see it, absolutely.
I'm just saying, as far as careers go, that might be the way to go. You make that kind of decision, you're going to attract a lot of attention.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, and I stand by my whole thing here. Rocky Horror, everybody knows it and loves it. Phantom of the Paradise by Brian De Palma is a better rock musical movie.
Okay. We'll have to
look it up.
We'll have to watch it.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you a quick question. Speaking of B movies and stuff like that, a buddy of ours who's a part of the Famicom, he's a huge fan of Starship Troopers. What do you think about that movie? Because I know some people are like, you either love it or you absolutely hate that movie. He's like, that's one of his favorite movies of all time.
I love that movie. I'm a big fan of all Paul Verhoeven movies. And it's great when they're remaking them and they're all terrible. Did you see the Total Recall with Bullseye in it? It was horrible. It was horrible.
I didn't see it, but yeah, Colin Farrell
the whole time I was watching Pacific Rim, I was thinking, how awesome would it be if they did it more like Paul Verhoeven movie, where they used the propaganda more and made it more of a satire. That's what he did so great in that movie, was he made a space sci-fi action movie, but it had a lot of World War II propaganda mixed with RoboCop propaganda, and that stuff in RoboCop was just amazing that they let somebody make a movie like that,
Yeah.
Kind of a parody of the media in the 1980s. So I love Starship Troopers. One of my best friends in the world has Death from Above tattoo on his arm. NPH is in it. It's violent. It's awesome. That's a great movie.
Neil Patrick Harris, baby.
That's right.
Nick's gonna be happy to hear that.
That's true.
That doesn't officially count as one of our questions. So here's Matt's official number 4 question.
Now, for people who don't know, I see you have your Midnight Show stuff behind there. Can you tell people who don't know a little bit about Midnight Show and where it's headed?
Yeah, we're almost done. Midnight Show is our love letter to trash cinema. We've been making it for over a year now. It's made up of a bunch of fake trailers and drive-in ads and skits from the 50s to the early 80s, kind of the the Atomic Age 50s. We have a crab monster from Terror Beach, and we have Attack of the Robot Nazi, where Hitler's brain was saved by the Soviets to make a evil robot. Into the 70s, where we have like Planet Mirrorball, which is kind of like Xanadu meets Star Wars. Her Time of the Month, which is a sexploitation, women getting revenge on rednecks. World War Fu, which is a violent kung fu thing about Nazi clones versus a bikini model who's actually a ninja expert. Like, we all, yeah. None of it has to make sense. That's the best part. I could round off all the titles: House with a Morgue, Sitar Man, Cannibal Santa, just all these great titles that we got from guys all over the country that wanted to get involved in this project, and they shot stuff for me, and we have animation. We have a piece called Chinese Takeout, which is have you ever seen The Story of Ricky? Which is a kung fu movie, super violent. Like, if you've ever seen the Moment of Zen from The Daily Show when the guy bashes the head, that's from that. We did something like that, but it's all children, and it's all dubbed by adults. So, yeah. And then this Friday we start shooting, or this Sunday we start shooting Black Friday, which is my, Black Friday is a 80s holiday-themed slasher movie about a killer in a George Washington mask who's killing people on the busiest shopping night of the year because George Washington's on the dollar bill. And porn star Tommy Gunn is going to be in it because he's a friend of mine, and it's going to be awesome. But the whole movie's just been a collaboration with all these different filmmakers, and there's a wraparound story of a couple at a double feature, and the projectionist buying time by showing all of these different things. And the movie's slowly killing me because it's the drama and putting everything together and keeping everybody happy, but it's all going to be worth it in the end. And we have a great producer involved, Eric Wilkinson, who's going to make sure that you're going to be able to find it, hopefully at like Walmart and Target. And
that's awesome.
I'm really proud of everything, and we have all this beautiful artwork in it, so it's gonna be cool.
That's great.
Awesome.
That's
awesome. It's cool to see when somebody has. I mean, you're obviously very passionate about it, and you just, as you said, it's like you ask people. You're just like, hey, just trust me, we'll make this happen. And I mean,
yeah.
you're like at the finish line now. I mean, maybe I'm being a little bit. I mean, I know you still have a lot of work to do, but I mean, it's got to feel good to be as close as you are at this point.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna be like that famous YouTube video where that guy does the Iron Man, and by the time he gets there, he throws up and shits his pants. And
yeah.
That'll be me. But it started out with all these different people I've known since social media started on Friendster. I think I've said this so many times. And all these different people who do all these different really cool videos, and I could never figure out a way to work with everybody because I didn't have a budget, and everybody's in Michigan and in Florida and Canada, and I couldn't figure out a way to work with everybody. So I came up with this idea and said, who wants to be involved? And a lot of people said no, and a lot of people have been bashing the movie ever since, and we've had production problems like you wouldn't believe from filmmakers, and I can't put enough sarcastic quotes around that. You know what? The cats who have all stayed involved have been trying, they've been pushing the movie, and they're excited to be part of it, and it's going to start a trend. We made Steve Carino, who directed Planet Mirrorball and Coin Slots, which you guys are going to love because it's all about classic video games.
Nice.
It's an 80s teen sex comedy like Porky's set in an arcade about a sexy girl gang, and it's awesome.
Well, let me ask you, is Justin Silverman in it?
Justin Silverman and I reprise our roles as I'm Moochie the Disco Pimp, and he's Slickmeister. But you've seen I cut off the sideburns and I cut my hair short because I'm not playing it anymore. I want to try to look human for once.
Okay, fair enough.
That's great.
Hey,
I couldn't go anywhere when the Wolverine came out. Everybody was like, "Oh, are you trying to look like him?" I was like, "No, I just don't like grooming myself."
Well, and the fact that you can grow that much facial hair is pretty impressive.
Yeah, because I can't grow hair anywhere else on my body. I'm like a flip.
Yeah, it just shows your dedication to the project. I mean, we've been following ever since you first made the page on Facebook and stuff like that. And just seeing where you started and where you are now. Sure. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's inspiring because I know I've seen the updates and it's like the trouble you've been having, but you haven't given up. And I think this product it's really going to be quality and we're really excited for it.
Yeah,
and I'm going to bring it to you guys so we can have a screening.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We got the space now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Yeah, so definitely for sure, we will make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can all stay at Matt's house.
Woohoo!
You
You can babysit. It's fine.
I walk around naked. I just hope that's okay with everybody.
That's the number one rule in my house. If you stay over, you have to be nude.
To be fair, Matt also walks around naked, but he's also a hugger.
That's true.
So I'm just putting it out there.
I like to walk around. It's like that scene in Eyes Wide Shut. I'm wearing a Mardi Gras mask, high socks, and a red velvet cape.
Oh man, that's gotta be a T-shirt.
Let's make a T-shirt of this. Okay.
Fanning myself with an ostrich feather.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It actually should be a video.
That should be a video.
Yeah, fair enough.
New idea.
All right. Our final question is kind of a mouthful, and it's kind of a little bit.
So am I. It's all right.
And that's where we're going to end it. So right there. That's the perfect way to end it. So, tough question though. If you could spend the evening with one of the following people, who would you choose and why? Number one being Kevin Smith, B being Samuel L. Jackson, C being Jack Kirby, and D being She-Hulk.
Did you ever see the picture of that terrible She-Hulk pilot they were going to do with Brigitte Nielsen as She-Hulk? Oh, it's horrible. Or they were making those porn parodies where that wrestler Chyna is the She-Hulk. I was like, my penis went up inside of my body, and I think I heard it away.
That would actually kill me because I mentioned Jennifer Connelly earlier. My first crush ever was She-Hulk, so that would kill me.
And you know what? That Hulk movie gets a lot of flack. I love that Hulk movie. I am a huge
Ang Lee.
And people tell me I'm crazy. That's my favorite of the Hulk movies. But I guess if I had to pick one,
weigh it out. Feel free to think about it.
I'm gonna have to go with Kevin Smith. I'm actually on this season's Comic Book Men.
I heard, yeah, that's
nice.
awesome.
But I listen to his podcast. It's always inspiring. I mean, yes, he has his head up his ass a lot, and I sometimes roll my eyes. But he's a dude who kind of came from nowhere as well. He came from New Jersey, and all it takes is one to break out, and you can make a career out of it. The other ones, I just feel like Samuel L. Jackson would yell at me a lot.
But you're used to that, right? I mean, people yell at you all the time, so that's not a huge thing.
Exactly. I'm like, dude, I don't have any snakes, and we're not on a plane, And why do you keep telling me you're glad I'm dead and you hope I burn in hell? And Jack Kirby, that would be awesome. But I'm not an artist, So I feel like Stan Lee would be some because I want to be a writer. So I would like to know what it was like to have like an intimate conversation with the modern, he's the Mark Twain of my life,
Correct. Without sounding too coarse, the reason I picked Jack Kirby is because I wanted to have at least one dead person on that list.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I mean, I know that's horrible, but...
We use a Ouija board, or we bring it back like Pet Sematary style?
Wasn't there an issue of Fantastic Four where we found out Jack Kirby was actually God?
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that's how it is. Maybe it'd be like a, heavenly experience.
I just like the idea now of doing a Jack Kirby Pet Cemetery, Fred Wynn, sometime.
Okay, but that is... Here's the thing. If you actually develop this idea, if this actually becomes a real thing where you make this actual film thing, you have to let us be involved.
Okay.
This Jack Kirby Pet Cemetery, we get to be involved. I'm just saying.
We could probably get half that cast. They're not doing anything now. But yeah, I would say Kevin Smith. The dude generates content like a porn star. So he's doing that Tusk movie. He's doing Clerks 3, which I have quite an affinity to Chasing Amy. I'm a big fan of that movie.
Right.
I watched them shooting Jersey Girl because I worked at the diner they shot that scene at.
Oh, cool.
He seemed like a nice guy when I've met him. And, I listened to all the podcasts and I've read the comic books. He's somebody who, just shows that you can, like his book says, fat, lazy guy who made something of himself. So, I would probably pick him of everybody. If I was an actor, I would say Samuel L. Jackson. If I was an artist, I would say Jack Kirby. And if I like giant green women, I would say She-Hulk.
I kind of miss. Do you kind of miss Kevin Smith in comic books though? Because I know you're a comic book fan too. Do you miss
Yeah,
him?
he started the Target, the Bullseye book,
Yeah, he
and
started
it just
it.
stopped.
Did it get
But,
2 issues in? Was it?
No, one. He started.
One issue, okay.
He killed a baby with a toothpick, and that was it. And you could tell that the book was written around the time of 9/11, and then not published until well after, because there was a lot of like 9/11 references in it. But it was like, okay, we're kind of past that point. Not never forget, but it just seemed like it was written in that period. And then by the time it came out, it was just kind of it stuck out a little bit.
Right. Hey, but, listen, I collected Spider-Man Black Cat, that took up like 7 years of my life.
He gets like raped, and it was strange.
For like 5 issues, 7 years of my life. So
his Guardian Devil stuff, I love. His the second Green Arrow story, the Onomatopoeia Killer, was awesome. Like I'm jealous that I didn't create that character.
Yeah,
so I would probably pick him. I mean, he's not in my top filmmakers of all time, but it would be awesome to hear like he's like a motivational speaker almost.
Right, for sure.
So that would be my pick.
So before,
but if I could get one, if you pick She-Hulk, if I got one female superhero,
okay, here we go. This is a better question. Go ahead.
Zatanna.
Zatanna, really?
Fishnets.
Doesn't surprise me.
I that is the sexiest superhero costume in the world.
You know what? I wouldn't pick Zatanna. She was on Justice League Detroit, so that automatically turned me off. I'm not gonna lie.
Justice League Detroit.
That was a good. They're like, nobody wants to be part of the team. I guess we'll get Aquaman and Vibe.
Yes. Who apparently is a legit character now. Vibe is all of a sudden important.
I went back and read some comments on old Underbelly episodes where I made fun of him. People like, he's awesome now. And I was like, all right, well, I'm judging it from when I grew up reading comics, and he was stupid,
He was stupid and kind of a stereotype.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. But yeah, no, it's cool to hear that you're gonna be on Comic Book Men this season. That's awesome. And we're really
posters and wearing my Underbelly shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. And we're very excited about everything that's going to be happening with the Midnight Show.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
That's just so cool. What do you think in long term Midnight Show? What's going to be the evolution from there?
I mean, I'd like to spin off some of the scripts for the trailers into full-fledged scripts.
Yeah.
I have a couple other concepts that I've been working on for a while for movies, but right now, just so much of my focus has been on this, some web projects, and then the comic books that I've been working on for quite a while. Just making sure that they finally see the light of day. So that's really it. I used to just cast a really wide net, but I've just kind of been. I'd rather get some things done and make them as good as I know I can, and even if they don't make me rich and famous, at least I'll know that I put out the best product that I possibly can.
Right.
So many people have ideas, and then they look for other people to make their ideas happen for them, or they sit on them. I'm just trying to take the talented people who can do the things that I can't, and see if my idea can be better. I'll be like George Lucas. Well,
that's actually like when I talk to people about you, I'm always like, well, he's another George Lucas, really. That's usually what I tell people.
I have a chin.
So, but we can't tell you how much. I mean, thank you so much for coming on and answering these questions. Relatively painless, right? I mean, those weren't bad questions this time. We've been pretty brutal in the past, but that was we really wanted to.
I'm always insanely transparent, so you have nothing to worry about there.
Right. Next time, though, comic book questions. Next time we get you, it's gonna be straight up comic book.
By then, hopefully, Scratch will be out, which is the graphic novel I've been working on.
Oh, cool.
Quite a while with Mark Polton of Savage Hawkman. He wrote with Rob Liefeld. We've been doing this Jersey Devil book for a while, which is kind of H.P. Lovecraft, Alan Moore, and David Cronenberg all mixed together. And I'm really excited for that. And then I got to get Nerds, Girls, Guns, and Ghouls back together. And then I pitched an idea recently, which was shot down because they said that I'll get death threats, which is called Nerd Puncher. And it is my assault on cosplay, fake nerd girls, and bronies. And it's from the point of view of somebody who remembers what it was like to be made fun of for reading comic books, and now it's become nerd chic because of Bazinga. So it's sort of like if that guy turned into Taxi Driver.
I got a question for Matt real quick.
Yes.
Do we? This is for my buddy Matt here. Do we have to edit out where he said Bazinga?
No, we'll leave it in.
We get one Bazinga per.
We get one Bazinga. Yeah.
I hate that show. It's
We hate it too.
and I've said it so many times, but it just makes it out that like I read comic books, so I have autism. Like everybody on that show seems like they have Asperger's. I don't get.
Here's the thing I said, Newt. This frustrates me to no end. There's literally an episode, the only episode I ever saw, where they were in a comic book shop and they were debating whether or not Wolverine was born with adamantium. My thought is everybody in the face of this planet by this point should know that Wolverine is not born with adamantium. It doesn't even make any sense.
Maybe you've never heard of FNX Project.
It just makes me want to smash my head against the wall.
Yeah, well, it's the guy. Isn't the guy who created also did Full House? So whatever.
Is it true?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the same guy. Although John Stamos is sexy.
True. True.
He does those cool yogurt commercials.
He's true.
Which is
That's
really
right.
awesome.
They're not like the Jamie Lee Curtis ones where it's about poop yogurt. I was like, she was sexy once.
She was sexy once. But you know what? Everybody poops.
Exactly. There's a book like that.
That's right.
There is a book like that. Everybody poops. The book's actually everybody poops, including Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes. But next time I come on, we'll talk about comics, and I'll name names and tell you who I hate.
Sounds good. Oh, that's perfect. That's all we want. But once again, thank you so much, Newt. And until next time, let's keep B-movies alive.
I like what you do. You switch it up.
Let's keep B-movies alive. Man, that was awesome talking to Newt.
Yeah.
I think anyone who's a big fan of B-movies should go and like the Midnight Show on Facebook and kind of support all of the cool things that he's doing. And hey, while we're at it, why not go back and watch some of those classic Underbelly episodes? Okay, so what's your deal, Matt? I thought you were a bigger Newt Wallen fan.
I'm a fan, but I'm not obsessed with him. Why would I be? He's just a normal guy who does movies. I do video games. And it's not like I have a secret crush on him or anything.
I don't even know you.
Sorry.
Never say my songs on the stage on my own. Never said my words, wishing they would be heard. I saw you smiling at me. Was it real or just my fantasy? You'd always be there in the corner of this tiny little bar. My last night here for you. Same old songs, just once more.